So much of running a theme park is working with the local authorities to make sure your attraction is compliant, and the largest parks can't even sneeze without needing planning permission for where the snot's going to land. It's what keeps the likes of Sarah in a job. And the best part about moving an entire car park is the sheer amount of space that this creates, which just so happens to be right for a roller coaster. And as the crowds gather at the public consultation event, everyone is very excited to see what the park will unveil. Will it be an RMC? Maybe something launched? Or a wing coaster? Oh, no, it's that. Hello you guys, welcome back to Planet Coaster 2, welcome back to Fustastica. As always, thank you so much for coming along for the ride. So Fustastica then is the park that we are building up over a number of seasons, and it is time for another WTF decision, because we've got a number of planning applications that have been submitted to the council for some rapid expansion, and as I keep saying, I'm keen to avoid sprawl, so we are just going to start developing some land that we've previously been using as a car park, and here it is with the SLC. I don't think it would be a B&M invert. I think an SLC is probably the best decision that the park would make, and yes, this one has come from the workshop. It is this one here. Let me show you so you can see the share code. It's an awesome recreation. It's exactly what I needed for this park and this time, so there you go. Thank you to the creator for putting that up there. I need to do some little bits of tweaks with the timings and stuff. It's not quite working as I want it to, but it's a 3-train operation. It's exactly the same as Blue Tornado at Gardaland. I know that the SLCs tend to have 2 trains, but I'm going for 3 on this one, and this location is definitely one of those why are you putting that there? Well, it will become revealed over the next coming weeks and stuff, but I mean, I quite like how it sits on the sight line from outside the park here. It's quite imposing, yeah, it's quite there. We're going for a slightly different theme this time. I want to go for the Tiki style, you know, Polynesian style theme. I've never done it before, so I think it's time to put our hands into something like that. Let me show you what I am thinking then. First thing I need to do is get rid of this road here because it is in the way. In fact, there's a lot of infrastructure from the past that we need to get rid of. I said this in the last episode. There's bits that aren't going to be of use anymore. So let me get my trusty gravel. As always, the trusty gravel. Let's take the intensity up. So I'm going to need a queue. Of course, I am going to need a queue. And I'm thinking the queue needs to come around this way. And I do want to have it like wrapping around and doing all the usual stuff like that. I've decided that this station and entrance is going to be on the same side, only because there's not really much room to deal with this here, so that's fine. But I don't want to just put the exit out onto the plaza, so I do kind of want to wrap the exit round this way, and then maybe we can have a photo unit in this kind of space. So let me just get my 1 meter stuff that I do. This one will do. So yeah, I think maybe a photo unit in that kind of space I think would possibly work, and then maybe it can double up into something. Not quite sure. I need to play that bit out. So I also need a plaza area, so that's relatively easy to do. I'm going to use this one. So we're going to need to open up a plaza area from this sort of side, I am thinking. But also, I want to open up something in the Plomper Pop land so that we've got a little bit of throughput there. So that's going to be that. And then I do also think that we've probably got some space to put some shops in. So I'm thinking maybe something along the lines of there. And then I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest. As I said, the Polynesian stuff tends to lend itself to water rides more than it does inverted SLCs. So I don't really know how it's going to work. What I do know, though, is I'm going to need a balance pond at some point, and that's why I've gone for the Polynesian theme. I think I'm going to put this over water, right? Because we've got a balance pond here, and we've got one, of course, here. We haven't got one in this area, and I think it's needed. So that's what I'm thinking. I need to go off and do some more designing. I will see you in a minute. Alright guys, so this isn't the middle part of the episode where I show you lots of progress, but it is the middle part of the episode where I try and make the things I was just saying make a little bit of sense, because I've done a lot of clearing of the area. So I kind of want to talk through that before I then start to build the stuff on top. So let's have a look at those real quick changes. This shed is no longer over here, it's now here, and it will be the shed, maintenance shed for this ride. So I do need to put some kind of catwalk and maintenance and stuff in. That will all come in time. The balance pond is now in. I think this is probably the highest the water level will go. I haven't checked levels and stuff yet, but I know that it interacts with the ride, so we're going to need to have some kind of a check, and it's going to need custom supporting. I definitely can't leave this, and I can't leave this as messy as it is, so I'll do all of that later on. Down here then, I have started to put the plaza in, and I'm liking how this is actually. So these edges are just bamboos made up like that, and you just put them at different heights. They're not like they are alternating heights, but they're not alternating at the same height, so it's got a little bit of variation, and then all you do is you just sink that into the ground and be done with it. Then over here, the Tiki thing is still the Tiki building is coming together quite nicely, and as I've learned, just like Viking longhouses, most Tiki buildings actually look the same as well. So there's going to be a couple of bits of inspiration that I'm going to be able to use. But this is kind of a grab and go unit, that style thing that I wanted to pull together with some kind of picnic area that's going to live here. The queue line then, I kind of wanted it to be sandy. This is the closest we're going to get to the sand with the textures that we've got in game. And then we've just got the two fence style thing we've got going on here. So we've got the Viking fence, which actually works really well as Polynesian fencing, especially against the bamboo. And then we've got the fencing that I've used at the outside of the park, which actually fits quite nicely inside here. So I wanted to bring that through just for a little bit of consistency. This is how we're going to then connect to Plumplepop Land, and then this is how we're going to connect to the main pathway. And what's going to happen is that's going to end up creating a little bit of a thoroughfare coming through here. So that's all good. So I wanted to do a little bit of a quick play, because I wanted to show you how I'm going to be designing stuff, right? So the first thing we're going to need to do is some kind of don't die fencing, and I'm thinking that this is probably going to be how we're going to pull it together, right? So I'm going to have some kind of bamboo that's pulled through this way, and I want to use this bamboo trim as well. Like, there's lots of stuff that's in the game that actually works quite well, so I think I kind of want to use the bamboo trim. Let me just bring this way. So now I'm going to need a smaller trim so I can line off the top like this. Like this, and then we're going to need the actual don't die fencing. So if I just get rid of bamboo and I get the fence, I think I'm probably just going to use, should I use a smaller? No, I'm going to use the smaller one actually, because that fits a little bit better. So if I then put that in there like that, and like that, maybe. I don't like this. I'm not in love with that. So can I maybe pull that and that like that? Okay, fine. I'll tidy that up. But that's kind of what I'm thinking for the don't die fencing that I want along here, because it has to be themed and it has to go quite well. Now, down this bit, I'm using poles, right? So the stuff that came with the Western update, I think it's called pole. Yeah, there we go. There they are. So these are incredible for making like lattice works. So over in the station, let's actually do this, right? So over in the station, what we can do is have something that looks a little bit like this. Now this isn't new, right? You guys are going to probably know how to do this, but I just want you to I just wanted to point out how I'm doing this and why I'm doing this. So then we're going to come down to that kind of angle. It got angle snap on, by the way. It's 11.5 degrees. And then we're going to go up that way, and then we're going to go back round this way, and then spin this round. Now, the whole idea of the Tiki buildings is that they actually have quite steep roofs, and that's fine, right? I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with that being the building. Now, what we then need to do is potentially find a way. That's not a building yet, is it? There we go. It's to potentially find a way of bringing this down this way, because they kind of always stick out. So that's the vibe that I want to go there. But I don't want to just copy the, was it the Tiki Secret Lounge or whatever it is. I don't just want to copy that. I want to do it as my own little style. But that's kind of what I'm thinking anyway. Lots of thatch, lots of beams, and the beams, by the way, would also need to go along this way. So I'm thinking it needs to point out, because they would be joined, right? They'd be joined here, so that it's all carpentry. And then we would have up here. Let me get another pole. It's pole, isn't it? There we go. The shorter one would come in this space, and then this space, and then you would have another one going. Actually, we're going for the longer one, aren't we? So we go for the longer one there. Like that and like that, and then this one would need to go that way. This one would then need to go that way, and I think we should then have a central support pole like that, which, by the way, I know this isn't symmetrical because I have stupidly just been lining it up to this one, so I'm going to fix it, but then I think we need another one that's like that. And then another one that's like that. There you go. That is exactly what I'm thinking for this. Now I just need to put the the horizontal braces in and then be done with it. So, anyway, I'm going to crack on with that. I'll see you in a minute. This, however, is the middle part of the episode where I show you lots of things that have changed, even though it doesn't look like much has changed. But look, footers have shoes, so there's a thing. And that took a frighteningly long time to do. But seriously, I'm actually liking how this is turning out. It's it's turning out exactly as I thought it was going to. It's really, really weird though, because we had such good vibes over here with the steampunk land, and then of course all of the detail with Plumple Pop down here. It's difficult to then come over here into a small area that's not going to have a lot of detail anyway. It's all going to be in the foliage and all going to be in the decoration that makes it feel a little bit weird. So let's start with the station, because as you can see, lots and lots of stuff has been done. So after they did the last bit with the framework, I tidied the framework up, made it exactly as I wanted it to, and I did think about having the jutty out bit here. It didn't work. It just didn't work. However, what did work is this one here. It feels a little bit Viking, actually, if I'm honest. I backed myself into a corner because we have no thatch that's going to fill this gap. So instead, we've ended up with planks, and I'm all right with that, actually. It looks good. So we're still going to have thatch here, and I'm going to keep the station really, really simple on the outside. I don't think it needs to be any more than this. We're going to talk about this in a minute because that's going to be a bit of a live play. But inside the station, what I've started to do is the infrastructure work. So here's all of the mechanisms and stuff, or the starting of the mechanisms and stuff for the restraints and whatever. And I don't know why, but Planet Coaster doesn't put the supports for the inverted coasters in the station. So like there are none for the inverts, there's none for the flying coaster, there's none for this one. You would kind of expect there to at least be one at the front and one at the back of the station. But hey, whatever. I've put them in, and they are actually, whoa, hello. They are actually very similar to Blue Tornado. Thankfully, when I went to Gardenland, I took a few pictures. Nerd of the Blue Tornado station. So I've got a couple of reference images that I can use, and it pretty much looks like this. So there we go. I've also put the bamboo and stuff up. I really like this bamboo trim. I didn't realise it was an actual thing, but it's in there. And then I've used the same bamboo trim just for the bays, for the not cattle pens, wrong one, the air gates, and then of course we're gonna have numbers and for the rows and stuff along the top there. I've changed the colour of the coaster, by the way. It's now yellow and brown. Well, no, wait, was it yellow colour before? I think it might have been that colour before, actually. Ignore me. I haven't changed the coaster colour at all. I'm a massive liar. I have liabetes. So there you go. So here's the photo unit. This is coming together quite nicely. The bamboo texture for the actual wall set is really, really good. It's really good. So I'm happy with it. I mean, it's nice and simple. Does what it needs to do. Narrows down here so it sort of like slows people down so they can see the photos. What's really weird though is theme parks nowadays are actually doing away with personed, manned photo units. They're actually having all digital, and they are so devoid of life. Like the Hyperia one is just so stale and stagnant. It's unreal. But hey, whatever, it's fine. So there's the don't die fence that we, oh god, there's the don't die fence that we had earlier on, and it's now copied across. I changed colours and everything, right? It was all sorts of different colours. It was black, it was brown, it was whatever, and I actually ended up going back to being yellow. And this bright yellow as well. Like, I didn't even want it to be the same yellow as the train, because it just felt too much. So yeah, I kept it that way. And then I've just put the runners and stuff all along, and then I have put the usual mythology dirt down. As I said, the footers now have shoes all in the water, and they're all the right height, and they're all as they should, apart from this one here and this one here. Okay, I lie. Not all the supports have got footers. Some are missing. Probably need to fix that. But what I've also done here is just a little bit of custom supporting on the lift hill. Now, I know that the real life counterparts probably have more supports, like Blue Tornado does. I think it has 5 supports that are connected, but we're not in an earthquake zone here, so we don't actually need too many supports. So 3 is perfectly enough, and then this one down here, it does what it needs to do. As long as it's connected here, that's all that matters. And as long as it looks good from outside of the park, that's all that matters. I quite like how this is looking from the outside of the park, if I'm honest. Yeah, I am. So maintenance area-wise, I've done the concrete down here and just given it... Oh, I need to tidy that up. Oh, my God, there's so much I need to tidy up. And I've just put the fences and stuff all along, so that's all going to take nice shape. And then this is just going to be a lean-to kind of maintenance area. I don't want this to be too intense. It's not a massive area, right? So it's just a place to store a couple of trains and then work on them, and they're at ground level as well, so you don't need any kind of fancy kit or whatever. So I'm happy with that. And then I haven't really done much to this over here. It's sort of still sitting there waiting for me to finish it off. I think it just needs the kit that I would use, and then a roof and the actual pathing and stuff, and then we're done. This is the path I've chosen. I'm going to go for a crazy paving with different colours and stuff, and that's kind of going to go with the yellow that I've got over here as well, so I am happy with that. So let's talk live play, shall we? Because that's the show around this bit here. So I really wanted this whole thing to be able to sit quite nicely. So what I'm going to do eventually is copy this over so it can sit on the other side. Hang on, is this going to let me do it? Yeah, there you go. So it sits on the other side as well, so it's symmetrical, a little bit like that, because I kind of want it to interact with the track there, right? So that's kind of what I'm thinking about. I need to finish this off first, and we've got this rope and whatever, and this is actually quite difficult to do, but what I've done is I lined it up with the actual beam, the pillar that's in there, and then all I need to do now is just copy this across. And then once this is now all in, because you can see it's still not quite right, you then select them all like this, and you then use, no, not that one, you would then use advanced move just to take it up a touch. So you take your angle snap off, you take it up just a touch, so it then clips through the beam there, right? So that's what I'm doing there, but I kind of want this to be like this. But the trouble is that you do this and then it looks pirate. that's the only problem. But once I've then finished that and I've got a nice little mesh going on, there's this thatch piece that I want to use in this sort of space, and it's this one, right? It's this little roof cap. But I think if I can get this right, hang on, let me just align it to the ground. If I can get this right and resize it, I think it's going to make quite a nice little feature thing rather than it being a roof cap. So I'm going to be able to use that instead of like any kind of fancy statue or something, and that's kind of the vibe that I'm going for with this little area. Yeah, you see it quite a lot with Tiki buildings, with the whole Polynesian buildings and stuff, and I kind of like it. So that's the vibe that I'm going for here. And then I have just started to try my hand at doing some of the foliage, just to get a feel for what I want this foliage to be. It's all going to be palm trees. It's all going to be date palms and low-level palms and all that. I'm not a gardener. I don't know what I'm talking about. Palms. It's going to be palm trees, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So there you go. That's how it is looking from the top. I am happy with how this is turning out. I've got, as you saw, lots to tidy up. I better go do that. See you in a minute. Well, as far as car park coasters go, I think this is probably going to be up there with some of the best of them because, my God, this has turned out so much better than even I thought it was going to. I mean, fair play to Planet Coaster 2. It really does the whole Tiki Polynesian thing quite well, doesn't it? It's definitely one of its core themes. And there you go, Kia Bora. That's the name of the area, and it's time to give it its official opening. Are we ready? So here's number 1. Yes, and then come over here for number 2. And with that, we are officially open. Yes, oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to show you around. I think we're going to start down here because this queue line has turned out so well. Like, I'm glad I did the double fencing thing, and I'm glad I've just put all of this foliage in. The foliage has made it come to life, and now this queue just makes absolute sense with its yellow and its fences and its foliage and how it's just hides plomp plop land and the absolute cacophony of mess that sits behind it. Absolutely love it. And the music and all sorts. So we have a name. Boa Boa is the name, and it's because I was thinking of Bora Bora and I just took the R's out, so I don't even know, you know, it's got no connection to snakes or anything. It's just there. But I love the sign and I love the flames, and I just love this idea of like the totem poles and the pillars and stuff going on here. I just, yes. And then we've got the station, and I mean, the station has turned out so well. By the way, guys, there are lots of trees, as you can see, so this is going to be a mess of camera work. It really is, and we're going to get stuck and all sorts. But this is the station. I'm not even bothered about the wood versus thatch thing on the sticky outer bits anymore, because it just works from peak level. You get what I'm trying to achieve with it, and the thatch that you can see just makes it all actually as it should be. And I mean, from peak level, this is what you're going to see. So I mean, I'm okay with it. I'm happy with it. And then I love the fact you've just got the coaster just in the background, and it all just fits perfectly. So I'm all right with that. The station itself then had lots of work, so I've put the electric boxes in, so you've now got everything that you would expect, and then you've got lots of baggage bays and the numbers for the rows and the lighting and the music and all sorts. So it's all done in here, and I think this is pretty much how I wanted it to be. I'm glad I didn't do a closed roof in the end. I'm glad I left it open with the beams and stuff, because it's just a mess of beams and it looks so good. Like, I'm not even bothered that these don't even have supporting pillars, because it supports its own weight here and stuff, and I love it. Like, I used this technique before in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 back in the day with one of the custom packs, and I've just managed to do it in Planet Coaster. In fact, I used to do it in Planet Coaster as well, but I've now managed to do it in Planet Coaster 2, and yes, I'm so glad we got those beams back. That was exactly what was needed. So over in the maintenance area then, this is... Oh, it started raining. This is exactly as I wanted it to be. So we're back to Ginger's stuff. Hello, mate. Your stuff is still incredible, and it still gets used, and I just absolutely love it. It's just a shelter here, and I'm okay with that. Like, it doesn't need to be any more than that. So there you go. Just from the outside, you've got all of the stuff. And then along here, I tidied it all up. So we've now got a hedge and stuff that's along the outside. It's a natural barrier. I mean, I don't think guests are going to be able to get in from this point. But I mean, if they do, they're certainly welcome to stay. They've kind of earned it, right? And then you've got the fence. Excuse me, you've got the fence and stuff all along here, and then I just tidied up all the concrete and whatever, so it's all good. There were a couple of supports missing. I've now put those in, so there were a couple missing down here, and the missing shoes are now in, so the supports now all have shoes, and yeah, I love it. The water itself, I have lowered the level. It was a little bit too high, as it turns out, so I did all the clearance checks, and it wasn't right. But when you add in all of your reeds and your lilies and stuff, oh yes, it just absolutely looks perfect. The rocks, by the way, I used the mossy rocks because, of course, this would be stagnant water, so this is where you would find that kind of growth, right? The idea of mossy rocks and whatever. And then you have a couple of ledges and stuff down here as well, which would sort of act as some kind of barrier or whatever, and then yeah, you can do some really cool stuff actually with Planet Coaster 2 stuff. In fact, you learn it from Zoo, right? It's pretty much the same thing, but when you start to resize stuff and move it around and whatever, it just actually looks pretty dense. This gives the vibe that it would be quite humid in the summer, because it would be stagnant water, and it's probably dry actually potentially in the summer, and it's, as I said, it's a balanced pond. It wouldn't go any higher than this, really. The water's green. I'm not mad about that, actually, because it would be stagnant water. I think in update 4 we can recolor. By the way, I'm filming this well ahead of update 4 coming out. By the time this comes out, update 4 will be out, and we'll have an answer. So I think we can recolor natural water. I know we can do pools, and I know we can do the special effects, but I don't know if we could do natural water. I can't remember if that's on the list. So we'll find out anyway. If we can, I might come back and recolor it. I don't think it needs to be this green. I think it probably needs to be clearer. But whatever, it's fine. We'll deal with that. So I've also tidied up the maintenance area down here. That's all looking sweet. And I've just put the gravel and stuff back in, and then I tidied up the access point down here as well, because of course this was all part of the car park and stuff originally. So, but yeah, this is the entrance, and as I said, this is what you're going to get down here. Now we can sustain palm trees, by the way, in the UK. So the southwest of the UK is like Devon and Cornwall and whatever has a lot of palm trees, so we can do it. But I love how rich this feels, like the whole shade with the depth and the fact that it hides everything behind it. It's perfect. It's exactly what I wanted it to be. This has been added, by the way. I did add some more vending machines, even though we've got some literally there. This area is lacking services a little bit. So I put some more in just so people can come along and buy it. I mean, they're not using them, so whatever, sure, they're there. help yourself, do what you want. And then we've just got some clutter along here, along with the foliage, just to break up the area slightly. But yeah, yes. And then games, we needed some games in the area. I needed something to break up this whole sight line, so that's what I've done. Just a bit of a cover, and then I've copied across the games units that we've got on the workshop, so it's all good. The central area then is all sorted as well. Like, I didn't want it to be any more than this. I didn't want it to be too overgrown, but I wanted it to be shade casting. So that's what we've got here. And then we've got let's just get the camera right. We've got the food unit, and with people walking through. Annoyingly, I can't put barriers down because it then stops the staff. So what I think I need to do is replace the pathway inside here with staff pathway, but I'll do that another time. So for now, let's just ignore the fact that the guests are walking through, because we're looking at a pretty building. So there you go. I've put all of the advertising signs and stuff up, and I just tidied it off with a little bit of bit more detailing. The kitchen stuff is incredible. We overuse that, or I'm overusing it anyway, because it gives the perfect sight line into a unit. Bit of thatch on the roof, and then I copied across the beams and stuff just to give it a bit more of a personality. And there you go. It's pretty much there, pretty much solid. And then from Plumper Pop Land, this is how Kia Bora looks as the entrance. It's like a hang on, what's going on there? There we go. It's like a side entrance, but it's definitely going to be used as a shortcut, as we are seeing guests are definitely just going to come through, and I'm okay with that. I mean, I'm not mad. It makes absolute sense for them to do that. So there you go. That is how it is looking from the top. That's how it looks from the park sightline. I mean, I love the fact that the park doesn't really have a sightline. It's all mostly trees. It's there. It has a sightline, but it's like, it's there, isn't it? It's just, yes. And I like how if you're down here, you can't see the coaster at all. Like, you don't even know it's there, and it's not until you hit this sort of point that it actually just pops out, and there it is. So it fits perfectly. Given that I had a different coaster in mind for this spot, I'm glad I actually went with the SLC in the end. So there you go. That's how it looks from the top. Guys, thank you as always for getting to the end of this one. I really do appreciate it. Let me know what you think. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, because we are not quite done. We've got a number of episodes left. Let's go for a ride. Have a good week, guys. I'll see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.